Hey guys, I hope you're all doing really well. Listen, this one's about the danger of convenience, particularly with AI. I talk about how it all sort of is linked to the digital world that we live in, and how the convenience sort of manifests itself. So before I dive into it, please hit the like, subscribe, do all those amazing things. Really, really appreciate it. And for those of you who already have, just want to say a huge thank you. It really does mean the world to me. So thanks so much. So let's dive into it. The problem is most people don't choose surveillance. They choose convenience. And surveillance comes later. That's the uncomfortable truth at the heart of almost every digital system we use today. So in this video, I want to talk about why convenience always comes before control, and why once that happens, control is incredibly hard to get back. This isn't about fear. It's not about politics. It's about understanding a pattern that keeps repeating and recognizing it while we still have choices. When people adopt new technology, they're not asking deep questions. They're not thinking about architecture. They're not thinking about power or control. They're asking one thing: does this make my life easier? Less setup, fewer decisions, no configuration, just sign in and go. Convenience removes friction immediately. Control does not. Control usually asks something of you up front: time, attention, responsibility, hassle. And for most people, understandably, will always choose the option that asks less of them today. Here's the part that often gets missed. Control feels like work. Control means making choices. It means understanding how something works. It means being responsible when something breaks. It's a little bit like, I guess, if you're into Bitcoin, and you leave it on your exchange, and you should put it in a cold hardware wallet. You know that's the right thing. You know that's self-sovereign. It's just not as convenient as leaving it on an exchange. Convenience does the opposite, of course. Convenience says, don't worry about it. We'll handle that for you. You don't need to think about this. And that feels good. It feels efficient. It feels modern. And let's be honest, we're all a little bit lazy. But what convenience is really doing is removing responsibility. And when responsibility disappears, so does control. Convenience removes responsibility. Control demands it. So this is where platforms enter the picture. Platforms don't optimize for control. They optimize for adoption. And adoption only happens when friction is removed. That means central accounts, central services, central infrastructure. None of this looks dangerous at first. In fact, it looks helpful. The platform doesn't take control from you on day one. It earns your dependency first. And dependency is created through convenience. Once a system becomes convenient enough, you stop questioning it. You stop imagining alternatives. You adapt your behavior around. Let me ground this in the world we're actually living in. Take social media, for example. It was free. It still is free. It's easy. It removed friction from human connection. You didn't pay with money. You paid with attention, with behavior, with data. And at first, nobody cared because the convenience was incredible. But over time, the system reshapes how people communicate, what they say, and what gets amplified. Not because anyone voted for that, but because convenience came first. Now look at digital identity. It's sold as simpler onboarding, faster verification, less paperwork, less hassle. Again, convenience. But identity systems centralize control by design. Once identity becomes infrastructure, it stops being optional. Then there's messaging. Monitoring is framed as safety. Client-side scanning is framed as protection. But the technical reality is simple. You cannot scan messages without observing them. Observation always comes before control. And money follows the same path. Cash was inconvenient. Digital payments were easier. So we accepted KYC, centralized accounts, programmable systems. Now the conversation shifts to digital currencies, stablecoins, automated compliance, all framed as efficiency. Every one of these systems follows the same pattern. Convenience first, control later. And this brings us to AI. AI follows the same pattern, but with far higher stakes. Centralized AI platforms didn't win because they were evil. They won because they were convenient. Instant answers, no setup, no thinking about infrastructure. Just type and get a response. But here's what makes AI different from everything that came before it. AI doesn't just observe behavior. It observes cognition. It sees your questions, your uncertainties, your half-formed ideas, your private reasoning, things you may never say out loud, things you may never share with another human being. Think about what that actually means. A student asking an AI for help with suicidal thoughts, a journalist researching government corruption, a lawyer drafting sensitive legal strategy, a dissident exploring ideas that challenge power, all observed, all retained, all potentially linkable to identity. That makes centralized AI the most powerful observational system we've ever built. And once again, adoption came first. People optimize for convenience. Only after adoption do the deeper questions appear. Where does this data go? Who retains it? Who trains on it? Who monetizes it? Because just like social media before it, centralized AI follows the same economic gravity. The business model hasn't changed, only the substrate. Before they monetized your social graph, now they're monetizing your reasoning process, not just through ads, but through behavioral data, through preference modeling, through intellectual patterns. And this is where everything starts to converge. Identity observes who you are. Money observes what you do. Messaging observes what you say. Centralized AI observes how you think. Once cognition is observable, linking identity, behavior, money, and access becomes trivial. Not because of malicious intent, but because coordination becomes easy. Convenience makes each layer acceptable. AI makes them interoperable. And once that happens, control no longer needs to be explicit. It becomes ambient. So here's the quiet part most people realize too late. Control only becomes important after dependency is established. You notice it when you try to leave, when you want to opt out, when you want to change the rules. By then, switching costs are high. Your habits are formed. Your data is locked in. By the time people ask for control, the system is already designed without it. One important thing to say before I finish. None of this means technology has to work this way. Centralization isn't inevitable. It's a design choice. When computation happens locally, when systems run on your device instead of on someone else's servers, the incentives change. Observation becomes limited by design. Control stays with the user. This is what people mean by private AI or sovereign AI. Not better promises, different architecture. Let me make this concrete. When we built Whisper AI, we had a choice. Build it the convenient way, the fast way, the easy way, cloud-based, free, subscription model, and compete with ChatGPT and Gemini and all the rest of it. Or build it the hard way, everything on device, processing locally, works offline. We chose ultimate privacy and control for users. Of course, that made trade-offs harder to build. We had to deal with smaller models. It was harder to set up, less instant user gratification. But it also meant something else. Your questions never leave your device. Your thoughts aren't observed. Your cognition isn't monetized. And we made another choice too. No subscription, no freemium model, no servers, no signups. You pay once and it's yours forever. Like buying a CD, like old software, you own it. We don't need your email. We don't need your data. We don't need ongoing access to your thoughts to make the business work. Because you're not the product. You're the customer. Last week, when Iran shut down the internet, every cloud AI stopped working. ChatGPT, gone. Gemini, gone. Siri, useless. But an AI that runs on device, it keeps working, even when they flip the kill switch. Even when servers go down, even when platforms decide to deplatform you. That's not just privacy, that's resilience. That's sovereignty. This proves something important. Convenience and control don't have to be mutually exclusive. We just built the digital world assuming they were. So this isn't a story about bad actors, and it's not a story about careless users. It's a story about incentives. Convenience always comes first. Control only comes later, if it comes at all. But once you see that pattern, you can't unsee it. The question then becomes, what do you do about it? Do you keep choosing convenience? Or do you start choosing control? Well, the choice is still yours to make. Whisper AI is the alternative to a dystopian AI surveillance world. It's not the most convenient option. It's not free. It's not trying to be everything to everyone. But it's yours, completely, permanently. And right now, that matters more than convenience ever will. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, obviously feel free to drop them down below in the comments. But in the meantime, stay safe and stay sovereign. Take care, guys.